Well, Bears lose again. Huh. This is Locked On Baylor.
You are Locked On Baylor, your daily podcast on the Baylor Bears, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, Baylor lost. We all watched it, but Jalen Bridges hits a three with, 5 seconds left to tie the game. And Baylor thought it was a great idea to just not cover Tyrese Hunter at all and just let him go. I mean, literally coast to coast from one end line to another and win the game with a layup. I have no clue the direction of this team anymore. None, not one clue. But if you said, "Hey Cam, you got to tell me what's going to happen to this team in March," I'm just going to go with all reliable. They're going to lose in the second round because it looks just like the team that they had last year. It is just the same deficiencies as the team they had last year, and they lost in the second round. And that was rather unsurprising, to be totally honest with you. And I look at these last two games. You lose two games to teams who probably won't even be in the NCAA tournament the way they're going. And you lose Tuesday against Kansas State. The statistical nightmare. Everything goes wrong. All these just horrid shooting numbers, offensive numbers. It's all there. And it seems like fixable mistakes, but you lose that game. Then you come into this game against a team that is absolutely reeling, bottom of the barrel of this conference coming into today, and you fix those things. You shoot 80% from the free throw line. You shoot way better from three-point land. Doesn't matter. Still lose. So what am I supposed to think? How am I supposed to think positively about this team? If there are any hardcore pink hat green teamers, Baylor can never do anything wrong, fans that actually listen to this show, get in there and tell me what I need to be positive about, because I cannot find it right now. I cannot find it right now. This is supposed to be a top 10 offense in the nation. And that's great against Mississippi Valley State and Nichols and John Brown or whatever the heck these schools they were playing in November and December. But when you're facing a team that just pissed away a 15-point lead days ago, hours ago against UCF, and you hit one field goal in the last, 8.5 minutes of the game, that's embarrassing, man. That's terrible. That's terrible. You shouldn't be in the top 300 in offense if you're doing that. And it came with 15 seconds left, and then all you do is or 5 seconds left, and all you let them do is just go right down the court. No one tries to stop the ball. No one, it would have been a better play to just tackle him, just foul him. Make him go to the free throw line. At least you get a second or two left. But instead, you're banking on Tyrese Hunter to miss a layup. And poor Langston Love, man, he's got no one out there to help him. This was bad. This is bad. And you could feel it coming. If you have any sort of rational mind watching these things and you're not just wearing the Baylor glasses, you could see this coming. They had so many opportunities to take control of this game. They had Texas right where they wanted them. And they did nothing about it. UT goes 9 for 11 from 3 in the first half. You're thinking that's got to cool off. It did. They went 0 of 8 from 3 in the second half, and they won the freaking game. Come on, guys. What are we doing? And it's the problem again. There's nobody on this team that just says, guys, get on my back. I've got us. If you all are going to just lay down there and wilt, I've got us. Nobody says that. That's how you get one field goal in the last 8.5 minutes of a game. Pitiful, man. And for the second straight game, the biggest weapon that Baylor basketball has did not do well enough, and that is Scott Drew. He got outcoached again today by a guy who's coaching for his job. Hasn't even had a full season as a head coach. Outcoached Scott Drew today. No adjustments to get a field goal? 2 field goals in the last 8.5 minutes? That's too much to ask? Good Lord, man. I'm just ready to go to the comments here. I don't even know. Well, I mean, I don't know what else to say. you actually win a good amount of these categories. Texas starts 9 of 11 from 3, and you have a better 3-point shooting game than them, and you lose. Shoot 80% from the line. Lose. You have more turnovers, but it's only 10-7. That's another thing. You didn't turn them over. A team that was, they're just throwing the ball all over the place in the last couple of games. You don't turn them over. A team that's bench got outscored 34-7 last game, outscored you 12-10, by the way. A team that was minus 15 in rebounds in the last game, only minus 2 today. It's just, it was embarrassing, man. And I don't know what to think of this team. Because I see that Texas team and I see the talent that people were talking about before the season. But it still is a game they should not have won. Like, I don't think they played well enough to beat a top 10 team, but Baylor is not a top 10 team. In fact, I don't even think they're a top 25 team right now as we stand. They'll still be in the rankings, but I don't know how deserved that is. Oh, we got a lot of comments rolling in. Welp, 3-game skid. It's only 2, but it's still not good. Samuel, tired of hearing excuses for this freaking team. Me too, man. Me too, and I'm usually the one coming up with them, but I've got nothing today. Do I think they still have the talent? Sure. I thought they had the talent last year. They definitely had the talent 2 years ago, but they went out in the second round both those years. I don't know what else to say. Patrick says, sadly, Baylor has been losing to desperate teams. When does Baylor get desperate? Great freaking question, man. It's got to be soon or it's done or we're finished. And that's another thing that I'll compare to last year because they never really got desperate last year. And I shouldn't say that. After 0-3, they got a little desperate. They ended up beating Kansas at home. But Texas showed the fight today. You knew they were going to come out with a storm. You know, they're getting embarrassed this year. They're not projected to make the NCAA tournament. They just blew a 15-point lead on their home court the other night. You knew they were going to come out with that. And this is a team that can't close games. They closed games against another team that just cannot close it, man. I was begging, pleading on my knees, somebody for Baylor take control of this game. I've done that a few times this year. Yet again, it did not happen. Didn't happen. Will says, I'm going to walk into traffic. Do you have space for one more, man? I just want to punch every single thing in this house. My girlfriend and dog are out of the house. I'm putting that out there. I would never do that. But I want to just punch every inanimate object in this house. 7-8 minutes without a field goal will lose you many games. You're right, Mikey. You're not going to beat Waco High doing that. I'm sorry. That's terrible. That's just freaking terrible. Samuel. Hitting it on the head again. I'm tired of hearing we play in the Big 12. It's such a gauntlet of a conference. Me too, because you know what? That statement is right. It is. It's the best conference in America by far. But you are supposed to be one of the best teams. You are supposed to be up there. You're supposed to be one of the Final Four teams. You just lost to 2 teams that are not going to make the NCAA tournament as it stands right now. So yes, it is a great conference, and it's tough to play on the road. All the Baylor fans in that building today saying it was not an elite atmosphere. Texas didn't even need it. Where's the spine, man? Where is the spine on this team? When are they going to say, F you, we're better than you, and we're going to show it? Because they have not done that. They haven't done that once this season, to be totally honest with you. What, a 5-minute stretch against Auburn, game 1? Sure. That was 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago. Scotty B, just brutal. Now time to regroup a week from now. This will be a wake-up call for the team. Just don't have that bad stretch of offense with no field goals until the last shot. Yeah, easier said than done right now. I guess, thankfully, Baylor gets a week off. Oh, boy. Just thinking about what that's going to mean for the week of shows this week. Oof, that might be just as bad as the last 8 minutes of Baylor offense. It's and you get a good team coming in with TCU next Saturday. I'm afraid of those games coming up. In fact, looking at the longer outlook of this schedule, you get number 19 TCU at home next Saturday. You get the privilege of going on the road against UCF, a team that has already beaten Kansas and Texas this year. And then home against Iowa State, a team you never beat. Home against Tech, top 25, at Allen, and then at home against top 15 Oklahoma. So, oh boy, yeah. No way this isn't going to get worse before it gets better. Dez says, this is what happens when you run your mouth. Who? Was I running my mouth? Was I not just stating fact about how bad Texas has sucked this year? In fact, I refrained from it mostly because I was worried that I might jinx it for this game. So I don't know if that was on me or Baylor because they certainly didn't. I don't know. And Dez also says bottom of the barrel after 3 games. Lol. Yes, you were, dude. Yes. That doesn't change that you beat Baylor today, but yes, you were. And it was after 4 games. You're 1-3. Yes. You lost to West Virginia, man. Yes, that was bottom of the barrel. Scotty B, officiating was questionable for both sides. I mean, you hit it at the end there, both sides. Wasn't a factor to me in this game. It was weird, but both teams benefited from calls, certainly. It was odd. Joseph, Cam, I'm so pissed. What do I have to look forward to? I don't know, man. I don't know. Acro and tumbling. Women's basketball, which is going to win today. They're about to tip off right now. Patrick says, when do we get to see the good? I don't know, man. I don't know. Look, they're going to have some ranked wins this year. They're gonna. Just like they did last year. But is it ever going to be impressive enough that it puts us back in that Final Four mentality? I would have to say no at this point. I would have to say no. I don't even, Dez, you have a drink, bro. I don't even know what you're talking about. Austin, at what point do you switch the offensive strategy in the last 8 minutes to end that drought? Great question. Great question. Because after like 2 or 3 minutes, anybody would say now. But I don't know. I don't know. We'll just let that play out for 8 minutes. That was really bad. That was really bad. Austin also goes on to say, I mean, Baylor looked great with stats, played a phenomenal game for 32 minutes. Yep. Sounds a lot like last year. Just great offensive team, and then they go on the milk carton. What happens to them? I just think this team has more offensive options than last year, but they have a heck of a way of showing it because they have not shown it so far. I don't get it. Anyway, Reich, I'm sorry if I'm getting that name wrong. How can we turn this thing around? Good question. Don't go 8 minutes without a field goal. I wish I had a better answer than that. But this team just wilts when the going gets tough, man. They had a couple of opportunities to really to put the game away a few times. Like Texas was reeling a few times in this game, and they just didn't do it. Again, it played right into Baylor's hands in that, Texas started missing their shots. It was all coming down to earth, and then Baylor just could not capitalize on it. And when it happens once against Kansas State, you're thinking, boy, just everything went wrong that night. But when it happens again, and, they're one shot away from being 0-3 on the road in conference. So I don't understand. A lot of just going back and forth in the comments here. Bo, I just broke a TV. This team can't win when it matters. That's a good point. And this is a good point because of this. I am in search of a new TV. If any Baylor fans out there have a good TV that they're just not looking to use anymore, I will take it. I have a great TV out in my living room, but every time I watch Baylor on it, they freaking lose. Every time. So if you have a good TV, please, I'll take it. I will take it. This might help. That might be the thing that turns this thing around if someone gets me a new TV. I don't have enough money for a good one, so I'm calling on my Baylor people. Boston Straw, like the name. I will probably lose sleep over this game. You and me both, man. I'm not going to sleep all week. Oh, we got another freaking week before we play again. But, even if we win this game, this team is taking years off my life. I'm already balding. That's not great. And this is just taking years off my life. Scotty, with the new 14-team setup. Yeah, by the way, the top four teams in the Big 12 will get a double bye. Baylor's not going to be one of them. Not at this rate. No way, no how. Because they're going to lose head-to-heads, even if they might have a better record or the same record as an Iowa State or a TCU. I don't think they're going to win those head-to-head matchups. So, or a Texas Tech. I don't think they're going to win those matchups. So, the way this team looks right now. Patrick says Baylor needs to grow a pair. Yep. That's a good way of putting it, to be honest with you, because they haven't shown a pair this year yet. Haven't shown it this year yet. Aiden says Auburn would beat us by 15 in Waco. Right now, yes. Yes. And Auburn has turned out, I mean, they're hot. They're hot right now. And they turned out to be as good a team as probably I thought they would be. And a lot of people thought they would be, even though they didn't have the rankings in the preseason. I thought they were going to be a really solid team. But yes, that's a fact right now. These are not the same teams, and it's two different directions. Yep, no fire in the belly from Bobby. That's true. Will, at what point do we ask if Scott Drew without Jerome Tang is not good enough to be elite? The deeper we go into the season with performances like this is not that unreasonable a question. It's harsh, but I think Scott's got some good assistants right now, and I really do believe in Scott as a coach. I really do. We can't just forget that the first 15 years, not only what he did to build this program, but what he did with the resources he had. Like, he wasn't getting McDonald's All-Americans for the first 10 years. And even then it was sparingly. I mean, he was the first guy who was really hitting the transfer portal and developing these guys. And he has a great, great, great eye for talent. But yeah, he got out-coached these two games. I'll go back to a game last year, though. I mean, he completely out-coached Bill Self, who's one of the best active coaches in America, and the Kansas Jayhawks at the Farrell Center. So it's not like we're way far off from Scott Drew masterclasses. He had a couple last year, as a matter of fact. We're just still waiting on it this year. Yeah, it's just all Des. Des, get something better to do. I don't mind a good troll, to be honest with you. Women's basketball, it is. Save me, Nikki. Yes. They're going to get on track today, back on track today, and that's going to be our team in the Final Four. We're going to be riding Baylor women's basketball, baby, all this week, all the rest of the season. Boston Straw, Ray J. Dennis has got to figure out moving forward. Was loose with the basketball again today, and a bit on so many ball fakes. I've got to double check the stats. I'm actually going to push back on this a little bit. Let's see. Ray J. Dennis, 8 assists, 2 turnovers. I don't think he was playing too loose with the basketball today. In fact, I thought he had a really good game. Now, that said, he didn't create offense for the team in the last 8 minutes of the game, which is what you really needed him to do. But I'm going to push back on that a little bit. I thought Ray J had a good game. I thought Jaden Nunn had a good game. 5 rebounds for him from the guard position. Hit all his free throws, which I love, and ended up with 15 points. I think he took better shots today. He did have a poorly timed missed layup that I think was actually right around that 8 or 9 minute mark, where the wheels kind of fell off offensively. He had a wide open layup and botched it. But I thought he had a good game. Yeah, you'd probably want some more scoring from Ray J. Dennis. He only takes 2 field goals, only gets 2 points. But I thought he was good today. Good enough? I guess not, because you need him in crunch time to create some offense for you. But 8 assists, 2 turnovers. I'll take that. And then, maybe I read this wrong, because Aiden said, I completely agree. I completely agree. But Ray J was on the bench for 5 of those minutes, and we didn't score. That isn't a coincidence. Yes. It was, we were saying the same things about James Akinjo in different ways. You know, I keep using that comparison throughout the season. Akinjo was not like a knockdown 3-point shooter. He was good enough. But people would say, oh my God, he's just shooting too much. bench him. And then when you put him on the bench, they couldn't move the ball around. So I think Ray J is a very, very similar player to that. Will says Ray J is crucial to getting us open looks from three. That's true, especially when he is penetrating. But then he also says, but yes, he can be a defensive liability and turns the ball over too much. Thought he had a good game with that. Sam, get out of here. Get out of here, bro. Hopes the Habs can beat the Bruins tonight to save my Saturday. No, other way around. Save my Saturday. Bruins honoring the 88-90 Stanley Cup final team. So that hopefully gives them a little bit of a boost. I don't know. Habs stink, man. Bruins finally getting hot again. Aiden says, I'm not ready to have that conversation about Scott. Yeah, I think it is a bit premature, and I think it was Will who said that about Jerome Tang, but I don't think it's that unfair to start thinking about it. I would say that doesn't mean that Scott Drew isn't a great coach, but I think what Will was saying was, can they get to that level again, that Final Four level, the way they just ran through 2 straight regular seasons, and then pretty good on the third one in 21-22 without someone like Jerome Tang. We'll see. Or not someone like Jerome Tang, without Jerome Tang. And a lot of discussion about Scott Drew in the comments. I think he's still a great coach. Got out coached today. Austin agreeing with me, and I think he put this in as I was saying it. With arguably great games from Nunn and Dennis, where in the roster is the weak spot? Or is that a mentality issue across the whole time? It's a good question. I think it not necessarily, you didn't necessarily see a weak spot on the roster today, but what you saw it was in strategy and in coaching a little bit. I mean, I thought Jacoby Walter had an awesome game today. And yet, how many times did he even touch the ball in the last 8 or 10 minutes? Like, he was a non-factor in the second half, and I just don't know why they weren't drawing up plays for him. I don't know. It feels like they haven't drawn up a play all year, by the way, for something that Baylor used to be really, really good at. Maybe that was Tang. I don't know. But didn't get the ball to Jacoby Walter enough, in my opinion. And in the first half, he was doing everything for you. I mean, the rebounds, putbacks. He had this great play at the end of the first half, which ends up being all for naught because A, Baylor lost, and B, they had a terrible look to end the half. But Texas scored with like 37 seconds left in the first half. And Jacoby was inbounding, and he just let the ball sit there without touching it to inbound it for 7 seconds so that Baylor would get the last shot of the half. That's like some really good situational awareness for an 18-year-old, 19-year-old true freshman. So I thought he had a great game today, and just where was he in the second half? Part of that's on him, sure, but I think, like, why aren't teammates finding him? Why aren't, with these media timeouts, why aren't we drawing something up for Jacoby Walter? Why aren't we trying to draw up good looks at the basket for our big guys? Josh O, who I thought had a great game, and Yves Missi, who is always solid for this team. Why aren't we drawing up some plays for them? It was always the pick and roll lob in the non-conference season. Why aren't there some plays where we can free up those guys in the center, especially with how this team can space the floor? So is it a roster spot? I don't think so today. I don't think so today. And I don't think it really has been most of the season, to be totally honest with you. It's collectively not been good enough, but there's been rare times where you can just point and say, this guy's the problem, this guy's the problem. And sometimes it was Jaden Nunn with the shot selection. But like you said, and like I said, he had a good game today. Scotty B keeping me updated on the Big 12. TCU down 14 at home to Iowa State. Iowa State's real good, guys. Watch out for them. I thought these two teams were about even. Iowa State's really good. I think they can play defense almost just as good as Houston can. So Patrick says, I just don't feel the confidence on the team that they should have as a premier team. That's right. That's what I was saying earlier. They just don't have that FU mentality. We're better than you. The way they did in 2020, the way they did in 2021, the way they did in 2022. Last 2 years, they haven't had it. Have not had it. Will is echoing what I think a lot of fans on here are thinking. This Baylor basketball season is just a continuation of the Cowboys season. That's fair. At least for me, it's not a continuation of the Patriots season. That would be even worse. So, Aiden, I don't understand how we can have such solid performances from Nunn, Bridges, Jacoby, and honestly Ray J and still come up short. It's demoralizing. That's what I'm talking about, man. For as bad as pretty much everyone was, collectively on Tuesday, you come away with a loss. They were that good this game today, and you still lost. So it's just losing's getting in the blood right now. I don't know what it is. Boston Straw says, I think the main problem with Drew today and in games he's been out coached is he takes too long to make the necessary adjustments, and it costs him 6 to 8 points on a given stretch on either end. That's it. Yeah. That's it. I mean, that's what you saw today. I mean, it wasn't necessarily one call, one missed timeout like it was against Kansas State. It was just 8 minutes of not playing good basketball, especially on the offensive end. So I don't get it. I don't get it. Austin, feeling much better after this post-game show as always. Thank you. Thank you, Austin. I appreciate that. This is the way for me to calm down a little bit. That doesn't mean I'm going to be all sunshine and rainbows tomorrow. It's still probably not going to be good, but it does calm me down a little bit. Patrick, Cam, your rant is medicinal and truly enjoyed the vent since it helped me throw my anger out. You and Austin and me, man, we're on the same page, bro. Yes, this is what I do it for. Get it all out here. And it gets better views than any of my other videos. That's also why I do it. But I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say. Get down in the comments on the YouTube video because I'm gonna cut this off in a few minutes here. But like, what is it? What is the change that's needed going forward? I'd love to hear because I'm clearly still thinking through it myself. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying not to overthink it, but you just need to be better offensively. And I now start to wonder how much Coach Tang was involved in that and running sets and drawing up good plays, because the last 2 years we have had these stretches where we just go 5, 6, 7 minutes without a field goal. And especially when you're going to be that bad at the free throw line as they've been this season, again, 80% today, but it's been a problem all season. Then you're not just driving to the bucket to get to the free throw line. In fact, there are times where I think they're afraid to do that. So I don't know. I don't know with this team, but if you had to ask me, Cam, how far are they going? I can't with any confidence tell you that they're going to go past the first weekend right now. Because last year you faced a Big East team that's more physical, tougher than you, and you go 5 or 6 minutes without scoring, they're gonna take it to your chest, man. Anyway. Thanks for letting me get that out, guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in as always. We're going to be back on Monday. We're going to break this down a little bit more. We're going to hear from Scott Drew. This is probably going to be a quick press conference. Wish I could be there, but I don't know if I'll ever be credentialed again at this point. So let me know what you think down in the comments below on what Baylor needs to change going forward. What was the problem today? Just what's going wrong with this team? I said you were going to look back at that Kansas State game and regret it. Now you're going to lose to back-to-back teams that really have a chance of not making the NCAA tournament. For as good as this conference is, that does not bode well going forward, especially in the stretch that Baylor is about to hit. They need to figure it out. They need to figure it out fast. This is not just a, hey, get in the gym and get some shots up. This is a lot of work that needs to be done for this team. So got a week off. Next Saturday, going to take on TCU. We're going to do a full breakdown of that later in the week. Let me know if you like those breakdown videos. I meant to ask that when I broke down Texas, because I put a lot of time in it, but I don't know how entertaining they are. I'll ask them again in the breakdown next week, which will probably be towards the end of the week, probably just Friday's show, because Baylor won't play until Saturday. Thank you for making it your first listen today and every day, even on the weekends here. I love doing these post-game shows, win or lose, but I'm hoping we can just get some freaking wins at some point here. Anyway, we'll be back on Monday. We'll hear from Scott Drew. We'll talk about this a little bit more. Thank you for making it your first listen today and every day. Like, subscribe, get down in the comments. This is Locked On Baylor.